We're here with Mr. Ben Chasny, who is responsible for Six Organs of Admittance and a bunch of other great music throughout his adult life. I hope we get to hear his teenage work sometime in the future in a reissue form.
No way.
He'll be playing, accompanied by Eliza Ambrosio, on the 27th of February at the Teatro Matos in Lisbon. And he's also doing a workshop around his exotic program work, which has been published in record form as well as written form on the 26th for interested parties and mostly guitar nerds.
Mostly guitar nerds.
Okay. And this is a conversation typed way too early in the morning in the 21st. Is that the day?
Yes, but I think technically it's the afternoon now.
Yeah. In the 21st of February, prior to Ben's current Lisbon engagements.
Days before abstraction led us to your subtle actions. When I sky crystal sight, summer's excess of love and light. Angels are necessary beyond the beast and the stars. Man sees the skeleton of the world and he builds things as they are.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Doing all right. How about yourself?
Okay. What have you been up to recently?
Just flew over here.
From where? Where are you living now?
Came from California.
You in California now?
Kind of don't have a home exactly right now, so I'm bouncing back and forth.
So homeless?
Pretty homeless right now.
That's cool. Super avant-garde. What kind of homeless?
If you heard my music, you'll understand why I'm homeless.
But you were in Seattle last time I talked with you.
Okay, right. So we were in Seattle, and then we moved to the East Coast for about 5 years.
Shit.
And then we were in Western Massachusetts for a while. And now we're on our way back to California.
What were you doing in Massachusetts?
Just living there. It's a really good scene.
It is?
Yeah, Western Mass. Yeah, Byron Coley's out there. Feeding Tube Records. Lots of good bands. Matt Valentine.
Why'd you come back to California? Let's
just
play some California.
Just missing it a bit.
California vibe shit. It's your friend Gary.
Right.
You were saying. Why'd you go back?
Oh, just missing California. So, yeah.
Tell people where you're from. Eureka.
Well, yeah, originally from Humboldt County, Eureka, California.
Tell people about it. People here don't know.
Nobody really knows about Humboldt County. It's a very small community. It's very beautiful. Redwood trees, ocean. That's about it.
This is what you have to talk about regarding your childhood, your upbringing.
Oh, you want to go?
Yes, I do.
Oh, yeah, you know.
People don't know about this shit. People just ask you, oh, it's so great you love Carlos Paredes. Fuck that shit. Tell people about yourself, man.
Well,
please.
What do you, like, the entire biography?
Yes.
Well, let's see. When I was born, I peed all over the doctor. We'll start from the very beginning.
Uh-huh.
And then, started playing guitar, basically.
That's pretty punk rock.
Yeah. That's the beginning. Yeah, no, just grew up very rural area, you know.
I'm listening.
That's it. There's not much else to say.
Just no narrative. You're not going to give me any narrative?
I've got no Joseph Campbell hero's quest story here. I just kind of
You lost me with the reference. I have no idea what you're talking about.
It's all right. Yeah, just started playing guitar at 16. That's about it.
Okay.
It's a mystery, man.
Shit, man, you're a very mysterious guy. So you went from Eureka to San Francisco for a while?
Santa Cruz, actually.
Santa Cruz?
Yeah, when I was about 24. Santa Cruz, then I started hanging out with the Comments on Fire guys down there, and then moved back to the Bay Area.
And then you met
Met Elisa when I was on tour, maybe 12 years ago or something. So
2005, 6.
yeah, and she was touring with Markers, yeah. And then we moved to San Francisco.
Why have you guys been traveling so much and moving so much? What do you think that is?
I don't know, just dissatisfied with, I don't know, just always moving someplace.
Dissatisfied.
Not dissatisfied. I mean, every place has been great. Just always, we're just missing California right now. So thinking about going back.
How's it like now?
How's California like?
Now.
Well, the Bay Area is awful. But we're not planning on moving to the Bay Area.
Where are you exactly?
We're probably back north somewhere, like more rural type area.
Like what?
Maybe back to Humboldt County, or maybe north of that. I don't know. East of that.
What kind of a non-Trump country is that?
It's just in the woods. Just want to move to a cabin or something.
Really?
Yeah. I tour enough that I can go out and see people, see you.
It is nice.
Yeah.
People usually don't celebrate Mr. Chasny for one of the things he is, but Ben is an incredibly generous and warm person.
Lies.
Yes. And he really gives a lot back to the world. And one of the things that constitutes that is this reissue that Drag City did.
Yeah.
The first Gary Higgins album.
Yeah, the first Gary Higgins album. Yeah.
Which we were just hearing a bit of.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to tell the story about that?
Yeah, I just had him on cassette tape, and then when I did the School of the Flower record, covered one of his songs and kind of put a note on that said, if anybody knows where he is, let's get him. And yeah, then found him. I can't remember exactly. I think maybe his son heard about it and said, there's some people trying to get a hold of you, Dad, or something like that. And then, yeah, we got in touch with him, and then Drag City reissued the record, and it was cool. He's a really nice person.
He is?
Yeah, he's super cool.
What's his vibe?
Just mellow. Just a mellow guy.
Is he from California?
He's from Connecticut.
He sounds Californian. But
yeah, it's got a real California vibe to it.
It's so sweet and warm.
Yeah.
What's he doing now? Do you know?
I don't know. I think he's still playing music around. Yeah, he's doing music. I haven't talked to him for a couple of years, but yeah.
He's not dead.
No way. No, he's doing stuff. Yeah, he's still playing shows in Connecticut and going on tours and stuff. It's always nice when you meet somebody and they end up being really nice,
Of course. I don't know if you know this guy, but he always makes me think of a bunch of tonal and tone aspects of what you do. No? This guy Wilburn Burchett.
No, I don't know.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Check it out. I hadn't thought of him in a couple of years, and yesterday when I was preparing of stuff to kind of cul-de-sac you into, he came back because of Hexadic. I was also kind of glancing through the book.
Yeah.
The book you wrote. So Ben now is a scholar and writes books about occultist music theory. And this kind of structure, like narrative-wise, the way it's kind of penciled out is a bit oblique. So it made me associated with Exotic. Why did you feel the need to systematize? By the way, Ben is doing a workshop on his Exotic program.
Yes.
In the Teatro Matos. Do you want to talk a bit about what made you kind of systematize a theoretical, pragmatic musical system? The fuck, man?
Yeah. Well, the system actually has an origin story, unlike myself. No origin story. And yeah, honestly, it sounds made up, but I had 2 dreams in a row where it was sort of in that hypnagogic state, but it was during the waking state where I was dreaming of composing music with cards, and I had it 2 mornings in a row, and I thought, well, then I should probably try to work on this. But I didn't know if it would work out. So I just started experimenting with different ideas, and the first thing I did, I didn't know what it would be like, and then I played it, and it seemed like, yeah, okay, this could be something that works. So then I just followed it, and things kept opening up, like little ideas. I thought it was going to be done after a couple ideas, and then that led to something else and different connections and correspondences. And next thing I know, after a couple of years, I just had this notebook of all these ideas.
But can I ask what was kind of the guiding lights or lights that were structuring this process?
I don't know. I mean, one thing just led to another. Yeah, I don't know. I just kind of became obsessed. When I went back and looked at the book recently, because I was doing the getting ready for the workshops, So I was looking at the book, and it kind of seemed alien to me. I don't remember writing some of it.
Really?
Yeah, like some of it I was like, that's really weird that I wrote that. Like it was in a certain state, and I just seemed to kind of be in that state for a couple of years and writing the book, and yeah, that's what I mean. Like it sounds made up, but it really is. Yeah, it was strange.
To be honest, it is strange to look at. It seems very occultist in the sense that, personally, at least, I've always dealt with the occult, which is not at all. It seems kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Self-imposed structuralization.
Yeah.
Like just like creating kind of a parallel universe whereby chance doesn't exist in the same way, and reality doesn't pan out the same way.
Okay.
And I was just curious as to what kind of references you had, if any, to create something like that.
I see. Well, there is sort of a history of music that, of people like there's trying to think of some people who've written about it. But, in terms of, if you take it even from like the beginning, everyone always goes back to Pythagoras, right? With the idea of perfect ratios with intervals. If you have the perfect, like if you play a fifth, that's a perfect 2/3 ratio.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go back to there and then you consider like the Pythagorean influence on the Neoplatonists, and then a Neoplatonist influence on theurgy and how theurgy influences occult idea.
Theurgy?
Theurgy would be like basically like ritualistic ideas of bringing transcendent principles into an immanent domain. So you can take that path from Pythagoras into the occult, and people have written about that, but that's not, I don't think it's occult in the general sense of, trying to be spooky or putting an upside down pentagram on it or something, but there are certain ideas which are called occult that deal more with hermetic ideas as well. And the hermetic ideas being always hermetic, the hermetic universe is very much, it very much relates to correspondences. So in the occult / if you take a hermetic world, which is also occult, that hermetic world, you would know, like, for instance, like this stone equals this star, right? So, and they're one and the same, right? So that is a hermetic world where as above, so below is the most famous hermetic idea. So in that way, those hermetic / occult ideas work very well with music, and work very well if you're trying to make a system where one thing equals another thing, because you're dealing with a correspondence there. So it just seemed natural to sort of be influenced by some more hermetic type ideas when you're working with a system for music. If you're going to say, well, this chord equals this note, you're already working with something that's slightly hermetic there. So that's sort of where it all, some of the ideas and how they had different trajectories.
But were you bored with normal tonality?
No, because I still work with that. And when you're working with guitar, you're automatically, you're playing in equal temperament. So I'm not, and actually, if anything, the system is a rejection of Pythagorean ideas because because in the system, everything becomes equal and all the notes become equal. So it's anti-structural in a way. So you're not looking at a scale in terms of a structure, in terms of this is a scale that means something. Every note has an equal weight to it. So that sort of thinking really can only work with something in or in equal temperament. It wouldn't really work in just intonation. So the guitar lends itself really toward that sort of serial type thinking rather than structural thinking.
Did you study this guy, Ornette?
I didn't study him, no, but
At all?
No, but it was very inspiring, like harmonics and yeah.
Yeah, it made me think of him because he never really
explained it.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. It's yeah, I know. It's so great, and people are still questioning what exactly it was. So I think it's really inspiring.
So, what kind of results do you feel you've obtained throughout this method in terms of human experience and artistic results?
It's just kind of
because it's a really complex.
It can be. It could be really simple too. The way that I made it was that you can take a very simple idea, or you can build and build and build on it, or you can take one or two ideas. And when people have been working with it, nobody's really used every single aspect altogether. They usually take this idea or a little bit of this or a little bit of that.
And what kind of results have you seen, like occurring from sharing the knowledge through the book or through workshops or through just putting it
it's been great.
Practice?
There's a group of people who've been making music and they kind of share it online with each other and with me, and it's really cool. And then I just put out Hexatic 3, the third record's coming out on Friday, and it has a bunch of other musicians on it that are doing stuff like Tashi Dorji's on it, and Phil Lagarde, who's been working a lot with the system. Richard Youngs uses it, Stephen O'Malley. And so that's coming out, Meg Baird. And so that's coming out on Friday. So that's the official release coming out with other musicians. It's like a compilation of other people using the system.
That's great.
Yeah, it's cool.
I've always found your choices of collaborators really refreshing.
Thanks.
In the sense where it's really heterogeneous. You work with people who are involved in improvisation, free jazz, composers like avant-garde, punk composers, pop people, in the US underground sense of pop.
Yeah.
This kind of intersocial, let's call it that, intersocial vision of the US underground, this like healthy, rich, heterogeneous intersocial vision seems super fresh and at the same time very uncommon for the past few years if one compares it to the lack thereof in other people's careers in the US underground. How have you seen the evolution of the US white underground scene in the past decade? Because I got a shitload of opinions about it. None of it's too nice.
The last couple of years, I feel like there have been a lot of really good pieces of music coming out. A lot of really good musicians that are coming out that are like younger than me. Most of them are, and but really inspiring. Actually, just the last few years, I've been pretty inspired by folks.
Like what?
Well, like Tashi for one. He's like one
good.
of my favorite guitar players. Cooper from Bitch and Bajas, who recorded my last record, like all his work is super great. I think Circuit AU, Haley's super rad. I think there's tons of great music coming out nowadays. Really inspiring. Phil Lagarde also, as I said, he has a new record coming out.
I don't know about him.
He's great. He's he has a band called Hawthorne, which is and he's a lecturer in Leeds for composition. So I met him through the Hexatic system because he picked it up and he kind of works a lot with it. So we kind of became friends through that.
You always seem to kind of try to coalesce vocabularies, so people involved. So you use a lot of rock information, a lot of jazz information, a lot of improv information, a lot of compositional information. What's been the? I mean, you were the first person telling me about Hamza El-Din, and so shit from all over the planet. You're a huge nerd for Japanese avant-garde music in the of the past 50 years. What's been tickling your fancy in the past few years in terms of like just making you think of different notions, different possibilities for music? And
I don't know. I feel like I've really dropped off the last few years, and I've been so inside my own head, especially with working on a Hexatic was so convoluted. I felt like I was just in this loop, you know. And actually, like Rhonda recorded right after I was doing Hexatic, and I couldn't even. It was really hard for me to record with those guys because I was so wrapped up in my own thing at the moment, you know. I feel like I'm just kind of getting out of it now. But I know there's stuff, like there's been so many good things coming out. I'm just drawing a blank right now.
Thanks, Ben. That's
really,
that's really
I always have to remember to kind of have my stock answer for that. But
this, I remember hearing this for the first time. It was probably because of you. You know this record?
Yeah. I forget who turned me on to this.
This is Sandy Bull's Fantasias for guitar and banjo.
Yeah,
with is it Ed Blackwell or Billy Higgins? Do you remember? On drums?
I thought it was Higgins, but I don't know.
I think I was drawn to this because of the first work you did with Mr. Chris Corsano.
Yeah.
Because it was the first time I ever heard acoustic guitar played so freely and with this kind of accompaniment.
Yeah.
Like open-ended rhythmic accompaniment.
Yeah. There have been some good people who've kind of worked in this template over the last few years. Maybe my favorite was, I'm trying to think of what they called their name, what they called the band. And I can't even remember the name now. I'm losing my mind.
It seems
my brain is going.
It seems to be the case. In terms of dwelling in more technical matters, after Exotic, how do you reapproach going back to maybe a more traditional technical setting in terms of tuning, in terms of envisioning song structure, improvisational structure?
It wasn't hard. Hexatic just became its own thing. It's not even like it was so. Once it was done, it just became its own trajectory. So now I can, then I did another record, Burning the Threshold, and that was just really melodic. I worked with a different tuning. I probably, if anything, I tried to go the opposite way and be more melodic than usual, using more major keys than minor. I usually use a lot of minor keys. Just trying to be generally a little more friendly, sonically.
Did your shrink tell you to do that?
I should get a shrink. Maybe I'll stop making things like Hexatic System. Hexatic System is my shrink.
Okay, I see. But why do you feel close to those kinds of... I mean, you were saying you usually use more minor intervals and chords and all that, but here and there you always have these kind of very luminous, super corny, really wonderful, emotional outpouring.
Hey man, emotions aren't corny. You can be emotional. No. Hey, you let it out, man. Let it out. You just come on, let it out.
No, it's too early. Too early in the morning. No, but you have these anthemic songs that kind of are recurrent, and you use these chords and these states of mind that we really don't hear so much out of American singer-songwriters. These very luminous, I don't know what kind of chords you use, what kind of tunings you've been using, but this last record is super luminous, super uplifting,
Thank you.
and super emotional.
Yeah, I tried to do a little more. Well, I have to admit, Elisa helped me a little bit with this last record with trying to be more friendly towards people because I don't know. I always think so. I'd like write some lyrics, be like, about like stabbing a beast through the heart, like some kind of, taking it from Sumerian mythology, and she's like, I don't.
As one does.
Yeah, she's like, I don't think people want to hear this. Maybe you should make this a little nicer. And I'd be like, oh, okay, I'll change some words. Take out the bleeding part. Okay, So she helped out with some of the editing.
So, okay. What does that leave you with at the end of it?
It's good. It's good for me to do new things, like be friendly.
Why is that a challenge?
Yeah, it's a challenge for me to write music that is, somewhat open, not guarded. So it was cool.
Shit, that's heavy. Heavy to have also a follow-up for that. And do you see any kind of a difference in people's reception of your work now that you're not at all passive-aggressive, friendly person?
No, I think there's always kind of just the same. It's like, I think no matter what, when I make music, it'll probably always be sort of the same response, which is sort of a kind of a collective, half-interested sigh around the world when I release a record.
But do you feel the need now to be more dialectical?
No, I mean, I just haven't.
Or is it just your wife who wants you to be more
No,
dialectical?
I think, it seems like since I've been doing music, just an idea comes and I split that idea apart, and then that idea goes over here, split that idea apart. And I've just always been that way. So sometimes that means being in a new band, like, if there's an idea to be in a band with a couple electric guitars and a drummer instead of doing it 6 organs, now that will be like wrong to, you know what I mean? And so it made sense, like, okay, well, keep the weird, strange theory. That will now be hexatic, and then maybe 6 organs will be more, open. And who knows, maybe that'll split off, and then it'll be like maybe instrumental only, and then I'll just do a project with only 6. I don't know how it works, but yeah, it's just always constantly splitting things apart.
So you do Rangda with Mr. Rick Bishop and Chris Corsano.
Yeah.
What's that been like for the past, 10 years, something like that?
Let's see,
Around that, no?
maybe 7. Maybe, yeah. No, it's great. I love playing with those guys. I learn a lot from playing with Rick. He's a really good guitar player. And a lot of times I can't play what I'm supposed to play at first, and then I actually have to practice. The band makes me practice, which is good. So
What's missing before the practice part?
just hitting the notes.
Oh, that.
Yeah. Like, I can't play what he has a different style. So that's been cool.
What purpose has that been serving in your life and in your music? What do you feel?
Well, it makes me a better guitar player and a better musician and thinking. And also with playing with Chris, doing new things, because he's not a normal human being, drummer, musician. I mean, he's crazy, amazing. So, it's like being in a band with him, and he'll, I have to keep the beat. Well, you're the drummer. What do you do? I have to keep the beat, and then learning how to do things like that. Like, okay, so it's cool.
What's been what have been the more recent evolutions in the work with Rick and Chris, you feel?
We're talking about recording again soon, and we have some ideas for the record that I probably can't say, but I'm pretty excited about it. Yeah.
Okay. You were talking about your bands, and people, of course, also are aware of your Comets on Fire phase. What kind of spice do you have for that in your life, and how do you look back at that at this point?
It was fun. It was a little more. It was probably kind of like a party. You know what I mean? Like, not that we didn't try hard to make music, but when I look back, it was definitely more of a party.
It sounds like one.
Kind of like, yeah. Maybe I never actually did go to a university, but I would imagine some people who did, looking back and saying, maybe I should have studied more rather than getting wasted every night. Kind of how I feel about comets.
Okay. Do you have this urge to be? Do you have any desire to kind of deal more with the rock idiom?
Yeah, I always, yeah. Who knows? I'm kind of thinking the next Six Organs will go a little more rock.
Yeah.
With a band, yeah. It's just whatever comes, you know, and I just keep. I thought in my mind, I was like, okay, the next one's gonna be straight instrumental because I haven't really done that in a really long time. And then,
that's right.
But then every time I pick up the guitar, I just keep a little more like rock type riffs, rock oriented stuff. So I'm like, well, maybe that's what it's gonna have to be then.
Why do you think you're feeling that urge?
I don't know. It's just, yeah, like I said, like I thought it was going to be instrumental, so I don't know.
You've always had this very codified, or coded is the word in English. At least that's the way I've always looked at it. In terms of the lyrics you use, they're always very lyrical, but at the same time super vague.
Yeah.
I never really got what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah, good.
Is that the plan?
Is that the plan?
Mm-hmm.
You mean for the next record?
No, for your whole career, lyrically speaking.
Are you trying to tell me to? No, well, that's one thing I was talking about with Elisa too, like trying to, like the last record opening up a little more about what stuff's about. So I feel, yeah, it's just the way I write. It's just the way I write lyrics. So
it's really cryptic, man. Because it sounds accessible, but it's not.
Yeah. I guess so. You know who's a big influence on my lyrics is somebody who doesn't get a lot of credit for their lyrics, which is King Buzzo and Melvin's lyrics. So, like if you read Melvin's lyrics, you're like, what are you talking about? And but Melvins are one of my favorite bands, so I love like everything. Like I used to listen to their Ozma record. Just it's how I learned how to play electric guitar, was playing along to Ozma, and. Yeah, so I'm a huge. So I think that he had a bit of influence on the way I write lyrics.
What are the lyrical themes in Ozma? I'm not.
And who knows? I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the hell he's singing about. Any of those songs? Who knows what they're about?
What are you singing about?
Well, the last record had some different themes. So one of the songs was about the poet Wallace Stevens, because I worked on a music for a play last year for about a month.
That's really grown up of you. Congratulations, man.
Thanks. It was really cool. It was a really fun thing. So one of the songs from the record is about Wallace Stevens and his life, and he's one of my favorite poets. And I'm trying to think what some other songs are about. I'm losing my mind. I can't even remember my songs on my last record, but I do know one song. Well, that's an instrumental, so that's not about lyrics. It was about Saint Eustace. He was a very good saint, like that guy.
There's some pretty good saints out there.
Yeah, Saint Eustace he's cool.
What's his gem?
He was the saint who you might know him most because Jägermeister stole his sign with the cross
he's
between.
The Jaeger guy.
Yeah, he's the one who saw the cross between the horns of the stag.
Yeah, you always have these really oblique references, like talking about fucking Neoplatonists and Pythagoras and Saint Eustace. What does like? I'm trying to.
Somebody told me that was hip. Somebody told me that was really cool, and the kids love it. So that's what I'm doing.
Hashtag Saint Eustace.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I've always tried to understand what kind of line draws together all the shit that interests you, and it's really fucked up. I'm trying to make a diagnosis for the past. How long have we known each other? 14 years. So, and I have no clue. Especially lyrically, I have no idea what the fuck you're on about.
Good, then you can come up with your own stories. I mean, that's what you should, I'm sure if we went song by song, there's like different ideas, but I can't think of any of my songs right now. That's why I have to write down my set list, because I don't remember. If I get up there without a set list, I can't remember any of my songs. It's crazy.
What do you mean?
I won't remember what my songs are to play, even after 20 years now. Six Organs is 20 years old this year.
Congratulations.
Thanks. Yeah. So, but I'll just draw a blank, much like this interview.
What do you think that is?
Why I draw a blank?
Uh-huh.
Some sort of mental deficiency, I guess. What do you want?
I'm trying to get to the core of your essence, man.
What's the matter with you? Why do you think this is wrong with you? I don't know. Maybe you're my shrink.
Maybe I am.
Yeah.
What's been interesting for you lyrically in terms of song form in what regards to the wording and phrasing and the themes, the approach to themes? What's been motivating you or making you interested about it?
I'm not sure. I'm drawing a blank for the new record. Like, I don't know what it's actually... Well, I think the next record will take a bit from the Ascent record, and it's going to be sort of like Ascent Part 2. And the Ascent record was really inspired by sort of like space Gnosticism.
Please elaborate.
You know...
Tell the listeners about space Gnosticism, Ben. Be nice.
Well, just the area...
Just chill, man, and talk about space agnosticism as one does. Okay?
Just that area in between science and the exploration of the universe and Gnosticism.
Sure.
You know, as the kids talk about nowadays.
What interests you in that? Please, we need some depth.
Well, it's pretty popular. A few people who are like, for instance, the most popular person who might be exploring or might be sort of centered around that world would be this guy, Jack Parsons, who is getting extremely popular more and more.
Wait, one this name.
He's getting more... I think a TV show is coming out about him in the United States.
The guy who worked for NASA or something?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm bringing him up because he would be the most popular person that most people have heard of that would deal with these themes of science, space exploration, plus, you know...
I know some underground VIPs that dwell in music who are very hip on Jack Parsons.
Right.
And I read it very superficially. It sounded delirious to me.
He was pretty wild. He was pretty cool.
Sounds
I mean,
crazy.
He's
basically a psychopath with good intentions.
He wasn't, I don't know, he
vibe
might have been
got.
crazy, but I don't know if he was a psychopath. But I mean, he has such a crazy story that when people hear about him, they're like, this is amazing. And people wanted to do movies about him, and now there's a TV show. So yeah, he was a crazy personality. He's a very good looking dude. He was out there.
I think that's half the equation.
Yeah, he's just, he's got a really cool story. So but the reason why I bring him up is because the idea that he would be like a good person the most popular person to sort of use as a center for that sort of theme of, space. Do ghosts exist in space? Are there alien ghosts? I know you smoke the doobers. Do you sit around thinking about that?
Why are you interested in all this bullshit?
What do you mean?
This universe you're very superficially talking about.
Well, that would just be a theme for a record. I like to have different records have different ideas and themes and be centered around different things. And so this winter I was thinking about it. Actually, I spent a lot of time taking photographs of Orion, the constellation Orion. And so in my time underneath the stars, I started to get inspired and thinking that I wanted to, maybe the next record would be about that.
You were talking about Neoplatonists, and now you're talking about stars. What's your relationship with metaphysics? Let's fuck with that.
What we could do is go back to the old origin story, because now I'm reminded when I was a little kid, I did grow up in a very rural area where there were no streetlights or anything, so I was able to see the stars every night. So it goes back pretty far, and I had a little telescope, and I subscribed to this like kids astronomy magazine.
Finally, some fucking
yeah.
core.
So this goes back around. So this interest has been since I was a little kid, being interested in the stars and astronomy, and I thought, I wanted to be a astronaut when I was a kid. Everyone wants to be something.
It's adorable.
I wanted to be an astronaut, but my eyesight's too bad. So that's the only reason why I'm not an astronaut right now.
Is that what your parents told you?
They were into it. I mean,
because
they encouraged me and stuff, to be into the stars and stuff. So my dad was always reading sci-fi, so I was probably inspired by that.
But have you dealt with quantum physics and stuff like that?
No.
No?
Do I? No. Well, yeah, I know all about quantum physics. You want me to whip out some mathematical formulas for you?
No, just the poetic side of
well,
quantum reality.
I mean, what do you have?
I'm just trying to decipher what interests you in that, apart from the more like superficial graphical side of metaphysicality and other dimensions, because there's all these references and all these vibes from your records that kind of, at least in my view, have to do with unpronounceable things. So
It's just, I just have interest in certain things. I don't know why. And then, you know, and then that just seeps into the music, I guess, you know. So I guess I don't remember this, but my dad tells a story that he had a bunch of friends over, and I was really little. I must have been pretty small because I don't remember. And I came out, and my dad said, "Hey Ben, what do you want to be when you grow up?" And I said, "I want to be a scientist." And then and I said, "But not just any scientist, a mad scientist." So it's probably from that still, some kind of mad scientist, more Frankenstein than, you know, working for NASA.
that's nice. I'm gonna cut Mr. Bull off, and I feel it's my patriotic duty to confront you with the fact that you made us hear this more than our health would like to, because this is super hard to listen to every fucking time.
Yeah.
It's super important, and I'm just kidding. My balls are very angry at me right now just for listening to this shit. I'm getting chills down there. Mm-hmm. Why did the Carlos Paredes resonate so much with you, to the point where I don't know if listeners know why people do good things in general in life, but the sole reason for sure Ben introduced Carlos Paredes more to the outside world is just because he loves music, not because he wants to attain any sort of opportunistic profit out of this. He really is not that kind of guy. So this is really, I think, a gift you gave to us and to people abroad. But sorry for that parenthesis. But what struck you most about this motherfucker?
I don't know. I can't really say. And I just loved it. You know. I mean, the melodies, it just hits you. You know. There's no quantifiable thing. You know.
How did the whole
like this? Like it's just beautiful. It's just gorgeous.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. How was the process of dealing with this reissue?
Well, you know,
of the two,
it wasn't just me.
records.
I have to say also, it was just a really good luck that Drag City, my label, also hired this guy Fred, who is Portuguese.
Sure.
And so at the same time, we kind of hit Drag City at the same time with it. Like, you should do this. And Fred really pushed it, and I really pushed it. So it was also Fred quite a bit. And yeah, and Drag Cities, they're really nice. So yeah, so they did it. It was really cool.
Have you had any repercussions abroad related to this? Like people, coming up to you and talking about this abroad, or is it mostly something that?
No, but people don't usually talk to me anyway. I'm not like, hey, let's go talk to that guy. I don't know. People don't really, even after shows. I don't know. I think I'm a nice, friendly guy, but
You are?
maybe they're scared of me. I don't know. No. Here, yes. Actually, no. Some people have. Yeah, no. I've talked about it with other guitar players. Other guitar players have said thanks for turning me on to him and stuff. So yeah, that's been cool. So.
Have you learned any technical, structural shit from him?
No, it's funny you should ask that. It's impossible for me to play his music. Like even some of the melodies, even like that. I actually tried to learn that melody, and technically I could play the notes, but it just I can't. It just doesn't sound. It's kind of also when I haven't heard this new. Well, never mind. There's some guitar players who I feel like it's really hard to play, and he's definitely one of them. Like I can't Even if you play the exact notes, it doesn't come. Not for me. I can't play it.
What about this motherfucker?
Yeah, it's really funny. You should bring him up because.
By the way, this is a Kaji Haino and Fushitsusha.
Yeah, well, I just saw them play in Los Angeles a few months ago. They're amazing.
Really?
Yeah.
How was it?
Fantastic. They were great. It's kind of their pop set. It was crazy. It was
Pop set?
Yeah, only about a third of it was really distorted, and it was a little more like this record, Allegorical Misunderstandings.
I love this.
It's funny because I play a song from this in my Hexatic workshop.
You do?
Yeah. In my, well, I've been cracking myself up because one of my slides, so, you know, I'd have a slide presentation for this workshop.
You do?
Oh yeah, it's very pro.
No PowerPoint?
Close, Keynote. So
Nice.
it's, and I have one slide, I'll just give it away. I've been making myself laugh. And on one side, it has Keiji Haino, and it's a continuum. And on the other side is Yngwie Malmsteen. Why? So yeah, it's very funny.
You know, you
I've
are
been
the
making-
first human being to refer to Yngwie Malmsteen in the last 7 years. In the whole of planet Earth.
Yeah, I don't know if that's true. You don't watch a lot of guitar videos like I do.
No.
Yeah. I love Yngwie. Maybe not his personality so much, but actually he's mellowed out last few years. But the first few Yngwie Malmsteen records with his Rising Force band were really good.
Rising Force?
Yeah, well, I mean, people, because you just know about him as this character,
I know about
right?
the t-shirts.
Yeah. I don't know what t-shirt you've seen.
Yngwie fucking Malmsteen, that's who.
Yeah, see, he's kind of turned into this joke, and then
He's like pre-meme.
there was that recording of him on the airplane yelling at people, which is amazing.
I haven't seen this.
Yeah, I forget what he says. Anyway, but the early records, you know, he was really influenced by like Rainbow and Deep Purple, super Deep Purple worship. So what you get with a lot of those early shredders, you don't get good riffs. But Yngwie's got all these great riffs. I mean, it sounds like Deep. I mean, he's really influenced by Deep Purple, and so it's actually pretty good. You know, it's pretty swords and sorcery type lyrics.
Swords and Sorcery?
Yeah, so I don't know. You know, you have to. But you used to play Dungeons and Dragons, so
D&D?
yeah. So it would go back to your days of being a dungeon master.
Good times.
Yeah. So, but his first few Yngwie records I will stand by. I've recently turned many people on. They don't know this.
Is this the 80s you're talking about?
Yeah.
It's more Haino.
Yeah. So, you know, Haino and Yngwie, not the same type of guitar player, but I see him on a continuum.
How? Yeah, please
Well, as I talk about...
explain, because this is a very weird axis.
Sure.
we're
As
discussing.
I talk about in the workshop with Haino, you have music devoid of automatic finger habits, right? So there was an interview with Fushitsusha where it was an interview with Fushitsusha without Haino. And
How does that work?
It was great because all the other members are talking, and that's when Miramaki was in the band, the second guitar player who's on the first Fushitsusha record, who left to form Shizuka with his wife. So he's in an interview, and they're all talking about Haino and playing and stuff, and talking about how Haino doesn't like automatic finger movements, which are, you know, if you think about like something that you just do. So I put Haino's on one end, no automatic finger movements. You could probably put Derek Bailey on there as well.
Makes sense.
There's other guitar players like that, and then on the other side, it's all automatic finger movements, which is like Yngwie Malmsteen, which is like, you know, practice and get your automatic finger movements down so your fingers are just, you know, playing. So there's like athleticism in music over here. So there are two poles I see like on that continuum.
And you're interested in both?
Well, I like both guitar players. I'm interested in how those work together, you know, how those are two extremes, but it's interesting to me to have those different states of mind.
How do you oscillate between one and the other?
Well,
If you do that at all.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm definitely more of a Yngwie Malmsteen guitar player, you know, with automatic finger habits. A lot of people say that after I play, they say, you remind me a lot of Yngwie Malmsteen.
Yeah. But you feel closer to him than to Haino?
No, I don't feel really close to either one. I mean, they're both their own unique individuals. I like both of them. I wouldn't say equally. Probably like Haino more as a player, but I've been waving the Yngwie flag for the last couple of years, so I wanted to mention him in this interview.
Yeah, because I mean, your phrasing, just to really geek out for a second, your phrasing is very unusual because you're very modal in a sense,
Yeah.
and you're a great harmonist, generally speaking, with your vocals, with your vocal harmonies. And at the same time, you have this great sense of atonality. In terms of phrasing, what kind of stuff inspires you? Because it's strange because it's very lyrical, lyrical in a kind of an American way.
Huh.
An American.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to get you into any trouble back home.
Yeah.
But I've never been able to pinpoint where your melodic phrases come from.
I don't think there's really an influence musically. I think maybe what you're hearing is that a lot of my phrases work on one string rather than working vertical, like with a scale. I work horizontal on the phrasing. So there's some difference when you conceive of the melody horizontally rather than vertically on a scale. So maybe that's a little bit of what you're hearing.
I'm gonna cut Mr. Heino off and put something that I think kind of comes from their realm. Is this the first one?
I don't know. This is the first one that I heard.
Is it? But this is the first track of the record, right? It is. So this guy.
This would be probably thought more. I mean, I've never seen him play, but just sounds more of a horizontal type thing.
Yeah, this is Hamza Eldin. Where is he from? Do you remember?
I don't know where he's from.
North Africa.
Yeah. I forget who. I think my friend Ryan Hildebrand turned me on to him a long time ago. Ryan plays on the Dark Noontide record. So yeah.
So you view your phrases more horizontally rather than vertically. And how do you think that came about? Exactly.
I think it's just naturally with playing in an open tuning, So
what kind of evolutions has your tuning suffered throughout the years?
Mostly I still play in the same Six Organs tuning for a lot. The last record I changed the tuning a bit to try to change the feel a bit. So, but I keep it's a really versatile tuning. It's like sort of a cross between open G and dadgad a little bit. So it kind of has a feel of open G, except for the second string is tuned down a whole step. So you're not stuck in a major key with open G, so you can play minors really easily. Yeah, it's really versatile, so that's what I use.
You've never gone back to standard tuning?
No, I play in standard tuning sometimes, like with Rongdum in standard tuning.
You are?
Yeah.
And what's your relationship with standard tuning?
We get along pretty okay. Sometimes we fight.
What do you think are the qualities and problems for you personally with it?
Well, I mean, standard tuning's way more versatile. You can switch keys very easily and transpose stuff. So, I still play in it. A lot of the new riffs that I've been talking about that I've been coming up with have been in standard. That's why I see it more geared towards electric guitar and rock.
Okay, I see. Yeah, I mean the kind of phrases I get from pretty much I think any open tuning make me think that any open tuning is pretty much a song.
It could be.
It's one song forever.
Right.
A tuning.
Right.
So, have you felt the need to go back and forth with several open tunings, or?
No, I try to keep in mind live performance, and it's a real pain to switch tunings. But like I said, like the tuning I usually play in is so versatile that you can get a lot of different things out of it.
You've played with some really specific musicians in Six Organs. I mean, I think you were the only person I ever worked with as a promoter who brought a baritone guitarist.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
What live collaborations have you been more involved with in like recent times for Six Organs?
I don't know who. The last tour I've been playing with Elisa, so she'll play, and we've always played together. So, yeah, I mean that baritone guitar. That's just because he didn't want to play bass. He found it too much of a demotion, so we settled on baritone guitar.
So for the past couple of years, you've mostly been playing with Elisa.
Yeah, and we because I've been mostly doing acoustic music, so it's been a lot of solo stuff, you know.
But she's playing electric.
She's playing electric, yeah.
And she's using your tuning, or
no? She plays in standard because she does solos, so it's better for her to play in standard.
Sure. How have you seen the development of your live show throughout the years?
I wouldn't say it's developed. I'd say it's just kind of moving around. There's not like a progressive thing that's happening. It's
Macro narrative.
Yeah, it kind of goes here, it goes over there, it goes over there.
But what's kind of in store for the show next
It'll
week?
be solo acoustic. Yeah, well, the last record, like I said, I went back to more simple solo acoustic type stuff. So, yeah, that's what I'll be doing.
Doing any covers, man? You've
Yes.
always been a covers guy.
I am doing a cover.
Not to spoil anything, but what kind of stuff have you been interested in covering?
In covering?
Uh-huh.
Well, this is just a funny song that I've kind of always wanted to cover. That the original is more based on drums, so it's kind of funny to play just solo acoustic. Yeah, it's just a funny song. Other people, it's always that thing you think like, oh, I'm going to cover this song, and then after you do it, you find out
What's the song?
all
Can I
these
ask?
people have been covering it, and you're like, oh man.
What's
But
the
it's
song?
okay.
What's the song?
Did I thought I said.
No.
No, you sure? Well, you'll have to wait.
Maybe.
Yeah.
What's the song?
I don't know, I'm drawing a blank again.
That's nice, man. So
Yeah.
just the one cover for this gig.
Yeah, there'll be one cover. Yeah. But it's always that, like I said, you cover a song and then you're like, oh man, this has already been covered to death, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But we're still covering it. And then, yeah, like I was thinking about covering, there's been different songs I've been thinking about covering. But yeah, just this one.
Okay. What can we expect more from your show for next week? Because I mean, you do have a past in this country.
Yeah.
And you do have an audience.
It'll be
here.
quieter. It'll be more quiet. It will actually not be too far away from the last time I played at that theater. But Elisa will be there, so it'll have more of a dynamic range.
Okay. Ben is playing on the 27th of February at the Teatro Matos at 10. Any last words?
Nope.
That's it.